You get home at 9:47 p.m. Your laptop is still warm from your day job. Your eyes feel heavy, but you open it again anyway because you're building something. You're doing what everyone says you should do. You're not relying on one income. You're taking control. You're escaping the 9 to 5. And yet, your bank account doesn't feel different. Your stress is higher. Your sleep is worse. You're spending more on takeout because you're too tired to cook. You're ordering tools, subscriptions, software, maybe even courses to optimize the hustle. You're working more hours than ever, and somehow you feel poorer. Here's the uncomfortable question no one asks. What if your side hustle is actually making you poorer? Not emotionally, not motivationally, mathematically. Tonight on Next Invests, I want to walk through the hidden math behind side hustles. Because the issue isn't that you're lazy. It isn't that you're bad with money. It's that the system makes hustle feel like progress, even when the numbers say otherwise. Let's unpack this carefully. Most people think the formula is simple. More work equals more income equals more wealth. And that sounds logical. But wealth isn't built from gross income. It's built from net surplus and invested energy. There's a difference. The modern economy has quietly shifted the risk of stability from companies to individuals. Decades ago, job loyalty and pensions were more common. Today, income volatility is normal. So culturally, we've normalized the idea that you must always have a backup income stream. And that's not irrational. According to a 2023 report from Bankrate, nearly 39% of U.S. adults have a side hustle. The average side hustler makes about $810 per month. That sounds impressive until you look at what's underneath, because that $810 is revenue, not profit, and not adjusted for time. And this is where the trap begins. We don't calculate the full cost. We calculate the dream. Let's break this down slowly. Imagine you earn $800 a month from a side hustle. Sounds great. That's $9,600 a year. But to earn that, you're spending 15 hours a week. That's 60 hours a month. So now let's do the hidden math. $800 divided by 60 hours is about $13 per hour. Now subtract taxes. Let's assume 20% combined federal-state self-employment. That drops you to $640. Now it's $10.67 per hour. Now subtract expenses. Software subscriptions, gas, advertising, transaction fees, equipment depreciation. Let's say that's $150 per month conservatively. Now you're at $490. $490 divided by 60 hours is $8.16 per hour. That's before we account for the hidden costs, higher food spending, convenience spending, stress purchases, burnout days at your main job. And we haven't even discussed opportunity cost yet. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that working excessive hours across multiple jobs significantly increases burnout and decreases productivity in primary employment. That matters because if your main job is where your highest hourly value sits, draining yourself at night can quietly cap your real earning power. The system doesn't tell you this. It glamorizes multiple streams. It doesn't show you the net return on exhaustion. This isn't about shaming hustle. It's about exposing math. There's also something psychological happening. When you start a side hustle, you feel productive. You feel ambitious. You feel ahead of the curve. That dopamine hit is real, but income alone doesn't create wealth. Margin does. If your side hustle adds $500 in profit, but your lifestyle inflates by $400 because you feel justified ordering convenience, upgrading tools, or rewarding yourself, your net gain is $100. And if you invest none of it, you've just traded time for stress. There's also the illusion of control. Behavioral economists call this effort justification. The more effort we put into something, the more we believe it must be valuable. So we defend the hustle, even when it's not efficient. We don't want to admit the math doesn't love us back. Meanwhile, companies benefit from this culture. Platforms monetize your effort. Delivery apps, freelance marketplaces, content platforms. They collect fees whether you profit or not. The system gets paid first. You get what's left. That's not a moral failure on your part. That's structural design. Now here's the turning point. The problem isn't having a side hustle. The problem is having the wrong kind of side hustle, or running it without understanding leverage. There are two types of income: linear income and leveraged income. Linear income is simple. More hours equals more pay. Leveraged income separates hours from pay. It scales beyond your direct time. If your side hustle is purely linear and pays less than your primary job's effective hourly rate, it may be slowing your wealth building instead of accelerating it. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. The real question becomes, is this hustle buying me freedom or just buying me busyness? When you shift from how can I make more money to how can I increase surplus per hour of life, everything changes. Money is not just numbers. It's stored time, stored energy, stored optionality. If a hustle consumes all three and leaves you with minimal surplus, it's not wealth building. It's survival mode optimization. So what do we actually do about this? Let's talk real solutions, concrete, practical. Something you can apply this week. The first move is brutally simple, and most people avoid it. Calculate your true hourly rate across all income streams, not revenue, net profit. Take your last 30 days of side hustle income. Subtract every expense, fees, subscriptions, gas, advertising, equipment, taxes set aside. Then divide by actual hours worked. If you made $600 after expenses and worked 50 hours, that's $12 per hour. Now compare that to your primary job. If your main job pays $28 per hour and offers overtime at $42 per hour, the math may be screaming something uncomfortable. You'd build wealth faster by asking for overtime, negotiating pay, or building skills that raise your base salary. Why this works is simple. Wealth compounds from larger surpluses invested consistently. If increasing your primary income by $5 per hour adds $800 per month with no extra startup costs, that may outperform a low-margin hustle. How to implement this immediately? Spend one evening tracking hours honestly. No guessing, then run the numbers. If the result shocks you, good. Clarity is power. The expected outcome is focus. You stop spreading energy thin and start directing it where it multiplies. The second move is shifting from linear to leverage side income. If your hustle requires you to be present for every dollar earned, it's capped. Instead, look for elements you can systemize or productize. For example, if you're freelancing design work at $25 per hour, ask yourself, is there a template, course, digital product, or packaged offer that could sell multiple times without repeating the same hours? Let's say you create a $49 digital template that solves a specific problem. If 100 people buy it over a year, that's $4,900. If it took you 40 hours to create, that's over $120 per hour effective. And you're not trading ongoing time. This doesn't happen overnight, but even starting small shifts the model. Why this works is because leverage breaks the time equals money trap. It aligns effort with scale. To implement this week, audit your hustle and ask, what part of this repeats? What problem do people consistently ask me to solve? Can I package that? The expected outcome isn't instant riches. It's optionality, income that doesn't require you to sacrifice every evening. The third move is counterintuitive. Protect your energy like it's capital, because it is. If burnout reduces your primary job performance and costs you a promotion worth $10,000 annually, that's not hustle. That's a hidden loss. A 2021 Gallup study found that burned-out employees are 63% more likely to take sick days and 2.6 times more likely to actively seek a different job. Burnout has economic consequences. Sometimes the highest ROI move is not adding income. It's increasing efficiency and reducing leakage. For example, instead of a 15-hour weekly hustle earning $500, what if you cut it to 8 hours and spent the freed time building a certification that raises your main salary by $6,000 annually? Or what if you redirected those hours into optimizing expenses, negotiating insurance, refinancing debt, eliminating a $400 monthly interest payment? If you're carrying $10,000 in credit card debt at 22% interest, paying that off is a guaranteed 22% return. That beats most side hustles immediately. How to implement this? Run a debt audit. If high-interest debt exists, temporarily redirect hustle profit toward eliminating it. That's not quitting. That's reallocating for maximum impact. The expected outcome is psychological relief and financial acceleration. Once high-interest drag is gone, your surplus grows permanently. This is how people actually break free, not by grinding harder, by reallocating smarter. I want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with ambition. There's nothing wrong with building extra income. In fact, done correctly, it can change your trajectory. But the culture rarely tells you to measure net return on life. It tells you to stay busy. The system benefits from your constant output. Platforms get content, apps get drivers, marketplaces get freelancers, subscription tools get monthly fees. You deserve clarity before commitment. Ask yourself quietly, if I continue this exact hustle for 3 years, will I be meaningfully wealthier or just more exhausted? That's not pessimism. That's strategic thinking. Wealth isn't about stacking as many income streams as possible. It's about stacking efficient ones. And sometimes the most powerful move is subtraction, cutting a low-margin hustle, consolidating energy, increasing your primary earning power, eliminating high-interest drag, building one leveraged asset instead of juggling 5 small ones. You're not behind. You're navigating a system designed to keep you busy. But now you understand the math. And understanding the math changes the emotional weight. It turns anxiety into analysis. It turns guilt into strategy. You don't need 10 streams of income. You need surplus. You need leverage. You need energy preserved long enough to compound. Start with the numbers this week. Just one honest calculation. Then adjust. Not dramatically, not emotionally, just intelligently. Because this isn't about escaping work overnight. It's about making sure your effort actually builds something. And once you see that, you stop chasing hustle. You start building wealth. And if this made you pause, if it made you rethink how you're spending your time and energy, then this is exactly what we do here on Next Invests. We break down the hidden math behind money. We expose the systems quietly working against you. And we figure out how to move smarter without burning out. So subscribe if you want to build wealth with clarity instead of chaos. Like the video if it helped you see the numbers differently. And in the comments, tell me honestly, is your side hustle building freedom or just keeping you busy? Let's have a real conversation, because the goal isn't to hustle more, it's to win intelligently.